My beloved friend, how are you doing today? I hope you are great. I used to tell myself that I don't have enemies, and that is because when I search through my heart, I don't have anybody in particular as my enemy that I need to fight against. And so I declare to myself that I don't have enemy until my eyes got opened when I read Psalm 23 verse 5. And the Bible made me to understand there that God himself has prepared a table. Now, let's go to the Bible. Let me not just say from my head, okay? Psalm 23 verse 5 says, "You prepare a table for me before my enemies." That is what God is saying in his word. He prepared a table for me before my enemies, meaning I have enemies. So it is contrary to what I used to tell myself. I said I don't have enemy, but the Bible made me to understand that I have enemies. They are not just one, they are more than one. And it got me thinking because it is contrary to what I used to tell myself. I say, so I have enemies. And this is not to scare me. This is not to put fear in me. This is to make me to understand, to disprove my thinking of not having enemy. And so I say, okay, I have enemies. And I look, I say, yes. And that is why you will just see in your neighborhood, you don't offend the person, but the person will just be carrying face for you, meaning that is an enemy. Maybe where you walk, you can't really pick out what has happened between you and the person. You might just see people just being uncomfortable with you, not because you've done anything to them, but they declare you as their enemy. Sometimes in your family, you will know very sure that you've not even had a dealing with them. But anything that concerns you, they carry the matter on their head. They take it serious. And sometimes you ask yourself, what have I even done against this person? Your brain cannot really pick out anything, but they have declared you as their enemy. The Bible made me to understand that whether you like it or not, you have enemies. And this video is not to make you to develop hatred for people. This video is an awareness to you, is to uplift you, is to motivate, is to inspire you, is to make you to have this consciousness that whether you like it or not, whether you hurt people or not, whether you are reserved, whether you mind your business or not, that you have enemies. I am not here to preach for you, but we can't do this video without making reference to the Bible, okay? Trust me. Now, let us take the instance of Joseph. Joseph had a dream, and in the dream, his brothers bowed down to him, even his father. He explained, he didn't explain, he told his dream to his brothers. He also told his father. But trust me, immediately he told his brother his dreams. He didn't tell them because he's happy that they bow down to him. He dreamt with a free heart. He told them that See what I dreamt of. And immediately he told them, enmity started. They started fighting against him. They wanted to eliminate his life, thinking that when they eliminate him, the dream will be cancelled. But as God could have his way, because God always makes ways where there seems to be no way. And God said, who will speak when he has not spoken? When God speaks, nobody has the right to alter anything against God's word. If God said, this thing will be, you don't have the power to say it must not be. You will fight, but at the end, God's word will prevail. Because of Joseph's dream, his brothers wanted to kill him, but they ended up deciding to sell him out. In their mind, they've sold him out, and so they are free. They won't bow down to him because they are not together again. But what God said will be must be. Because of Joseph's dream, they sold him out. And he ended up being a slave. At the end, he went to the prison. You and me would think that it should be over. But with God, it is not over until it is over. And with God in charge, there is nothing that is too late. Everything with God will happen at the appointed time. As humans, we don't know the appointed time of God. And so when we expect anything and it does not happen when we want it, we say there is a delayer. We say there is a disappointment. But with God, there is nothing like disappointment. There is nothing like delayer. Delayer and disappointment is for humans. To God, he has his time. And when the time comes, it's like when you program something. For example, you set your alarm to wake you up by 4 a.m. When the time reached, the alarm must ring. And that is how God has programmed it. God has programmed everything. And so when he says, by this time, this will happen, you can't stop it. And when the rightful time comes, they still bow down to Joseph, unknowingly to them. Joseph did not force them to bow down to him. At the appointed time, the dream came true. They bowed down to him without him compelling them, without him forcing them. They bowed down to him willingly from their hearts. That is God's doing. If only your enemy knew that you are unstoppable, they wouldn't bother fighting you, because they are not foolish to the level that when they are aware that this battle they are fighting, it means nonsense. They won't bother, they won't waste their time. But your enemies, they have this assurance, they have this awareness. They are so conscious, they trust themselves that they are going to win the battle, and so they fight against you with the belief that they are going to defeat you. But little did they know that you are unstoppable. You are unstoppable. And that is why no matter how your enemies try to pull you down, at the end, their fights against you, instead of all their efforts that they have put to fight against you, to pull you down, instead of you to go down, they raise you up. And at the end, when everything unveils, you say, wow. So all this while, I never knew my enemies were the ones fighting to lift me up. And that is why I am saying this video, that I made you to understand that you have enemies, is not to weaken you, is not to scare you. I am making you to understand in this video that whether you hurt people or not, whether you offend them or not, you have enemies. And fear not, because that is what God made us to understand. He said, fear not, for I am with you. For the Egyptians that you see today, you will see them no more. What frightens you today, what scares you today, don't worry. God is telling you that you will see them no more. And when it will happen, it will be a shock to you. Sometimes people will feel that they are punishing you. They will feel that they are fighting against you, but they don't know that God is using them as an instrument to lift you up. And if only they knew that they were machineries, if they only knew that they are your workers, they wouldn't bother fighting against you. And that is why when you see people that have declared themselves as your enemy, don't hate them. Love them. If you have any way to help them, help them. You know why? Your enemies are your workers. Because your enemies are the ones working for your upliftment. In their mind, they are working against you. But indirectly, unknowingly to them, they are working towards your favor. And if only your enemies knew that they are your workers, they will stop working. And that is why God has placed in their hearts that they are fighting against you, so that they will work with all their strength, they will work with all their powers, they will work with all their connections to lift you up. If only your enemies knew that you are unstoppable, they won't bother fighting against you. If Joseph's brothers knew that there is nothing they can do to stop this dream from coming to manifestation, they won't bother doing all the things they did to their brother. Because at the end, they regretted. Because at the end, when they knew that all this fight, the fight was in vain, that they bowed down to him, they regretted. And so I am telling you that God himself have made it clear to you that whether you like it or not, you have enemies. And when you see enemies all around you, in your neighborhood, in your family, in your workplace, don't worry. I know it hurts when you see them fighting against you. It hurts. It will make you to feel bad because you are human. And you are feeling bad because you don't have what it takes to see tomorrow. You are not seeing the end result, and that is why you are worried. And so this video is a reminder for you. Don't worry anymore. God is so faithful. He sees what we can't see. And that is why he told you, fear no more. That the Egyptians that you see today, you will see them no more. Do you see your enemies all around you? You see your enemies surrounded. They have surrounded you. You are in their middle. But God is telling you that fear not, even if they surround you. That you see these enemies you see right now, you will see them no more. If those that fight against Jesus knew that they were workers to make sure that the prophecy come true, they won't bother fighting. They won't bother. If devil himself knew also that all his efforts will be in vain, he won't bother. But there's this conviction in him. He has this belief that he's going to win the battle. And that is why he's still fighting seriously to kill, to destroy, and to steal. Don't allow your enemies to steal your joy. Don't allow them to steal your dream. Be focused. Be happy. When your enemies are fighting against you, just be happy with yourself. Be happy you have enemies. Be happy that you have enemies, because your enemies are your workers. They are your field workers. And they are working tirelessly. They are working seriously with all their connections, with all their powers. They will even brag to you. Do you know me? Do you know what I can do to you? Do you know what I'm capable of? My dear, fear not. It does not matter who they are, how capable they are, the connection they are, the level they are. The bottom line is, they are your workers. And you are the boss. Your enemies are your field workers. You are the boss. So, fear not. Be happy. Always smile when you see your enemies fighting against you, because victory is yours. After watching this video, I want you to pause for a moment and just reason. Look around your environment. Look around your family. Look around your workplace. Those persons that don't like you, sit down for a moment and reason if you've had one-on-one problem with them. If you can think and reason anything you've done against them, that they've made you to be their enemy. Trust me, most times you will reason left, right, center. You cannot get anything that you've really done to them, but you are their enemies. And that is because they are your field workers. God is using them as an instrument to lift you up. And until you have this awareness, you'll be praying for your enemies to die. Let me tell you, prior to this time, with ignorance, I used to pray for my enemies to die. Let my enemies die so that I will be free. Let my enemies die so that I will be free. But when I read Psalm 23, when God made me to understand His word in Psalm 23 verse 5, that He will prepare a table for me before my enemies. My life changed. My mentality changed. I now realize that my enemies don't need to die. They need to be alive to see God's handwork in my life. Without the enemy, the table cannot be prepared. So your enemies being alive is very important. And if you are still praying for your enemies to stop, if you are praying for your enemies to die, I want you to please stop praying that prayer, because it is not important. And you may ask me, what is now important? The important thing is your enemy needs to be alive to witness God's glory, God's goodness, God's handwork in your life, so that His word will be fulfilled. If your enemies die, if all your enemies die, then there will be no table prepared for you. And when God prepares a table for you, then your rice don't stew. Then everything don't set. If God prepares table for you, Meaning you will not live in abundance. Meaning you will now live in happiness. You won't struggle anymore. You will not live the kind of life that God wants you to live. And that is why this video is not a video that is just meant for you. Sometimes I'll be in my house relaxing and I will hear churches preaching, praying for their enemies to die. And I'll shake my head. I am not surprised because God made me to understand that my people perish because they lack knowledge. Why will if you have the knowledge, you wouldn't be praying your enemy should die? I say, oh, and I would imagine how many people are in the congregation that that will be led with this idea of let your enemies die. And so they live with this ignorance. They live with this deceit of let my enemy die. And my earnest prayer for them, the way God opened my eyes to know these truths, let God open the eyes of everyone that is still blind or closed about let my enemy die, so that they can come out of this ignorance that they've been living with for years. And this let my enemy die syndrome has kept a lot of people stuck. And because they are stuck and they are failing in the things they do, they feel it's their enemies. They don't know that they are failing, they are stuck in life because they felt their enemies are working against them. They are stuck in life because they felt that their enemies are still alive, and until they die they cannot be free. And so they keep on wasting their time praying for their enemies to die. I'm glad you've come across this video, and I know that from today henceforth you are going to have a new mind shift when it comes to your enemies. I have made you to understand in this video that it is very important for your enemies to be alive. I have made you to understand that you have enemies in your life. And you don't have to be careful with them. You don't have to live in fear with them. You have to live your life boldly. You have to live your life, be happy, be free, knowing that your enemies are your workers. They are your field workers. And if you are the boss, are you going to be scared of your employee? You won't. Your enemies are like your employees, and you are the boss. And so, you are the one in charge. So you don't have to be scared of your enemy. And that is why when I move with confidence, when I fear nothing, it is not as if I have money. I don't have money. I don't have connection. The only connection I have is God. And with God, all things are possible. With God, I am victorious. With God, I fear nothing. And that is what I have. When you see me bold and courageous, when I have confidence, I move with dignity, I move with pride, not because of how much is in my account. It is because of God in me. And that is why I want you to have a new mentality, that your enemies, they are your field workers. And if only your enemy knew that, they wouldn't bother themselves working against you. So allow the sleeping dog to lie low. Allow your enemies to keep on working with all their connections, with all their strengths, with all they have. Allow them to use all their resources to keep on fighting against you, because guess what? They are the workers. that God is using to raise you up. Hello, have I spoken to somebody? This is Simplicity in Pig channel. If this video really makes sense to you, don't watch it alone. Share it with your loved ones as a token from your heart. Like this video, drop your comments. Until next time, I remain Dora Bob, your girl. Bye-bye.